Call this meeting of the DeKalb County Council Wednesday, March 11th, 2026 in order. We'll begin with an opening prayer by Amy Prosser.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, Lord, we just come to you this morning with gratefulness in our hearts, gratitude, and just a love for all that you're doing in our county. And Lord, we ask that you would be with us this morning as we do the work of our citizens. We thank you for the rain. Thank you for the beautiful day that even though it's raining, Lord, we know that it's all for our good. And we're grateful that you give us the things that we need. Give us the wisdom that we need today. In Jesus' name, amen.
Please stand for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, everybody's had a copy of the minutes. Do we have any additions or corrections to make in the February 26th meeting? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
We have a motion by Amy Prosser to approve the minutes. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Rick Ring. All those in favor of approving the minutes from February 26th or February 11th meeting signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are approved. Okay, we have, I think it's two. Two additionals that we do need to take a look at and approve. The first one comes from Debt Service Central Dispatch, and it is fund number 4605, account number 32780. Account title is Other Service Fees. The amount requested is $50. The paying agent fee increased from $750 to $800. Was this included in the annual budget request? The answer is no. And the reason was we were not aware of the increase at that time. How will this appropriation be used? It will be used to pay the annual paying agent fee. Specific cost is $800. How was this cost determined? An invoice sent from Regions Bank. Is this a reoccurring expense? The answer is no. Will other expenditures be necessary? The answer is no. Was it discussed with the liaison? Yes, and the liaison's name is Bob Kraft. Do we have a motion to approve the $50 transfer request from Central Dispatch?
Additional,
I'm sorry. Okay, we have a motion by Bob Kraft and a second by Amy Prosser. Any further discussion on the additional?
Just that, just a comment that, we're doing the budget in July and August and September, and a lot of times these companies come through with increases, in the November, December timeframe. So by that time, we got to have the budget approved before October 1. So by that time, we're kind of between a rock and a hard place. So.
Yeah, good point. Thanks, Rick. Okay, we have a motion and a second. We'll call for the question. All those in favor of the $50 additional, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Transfer additional has been granted. The next one we have comes from Superior Court 2. And the fund name is Court Reform. What is GRT?
grant,
Grant.
yeah, grant.
Super 2, the fund number is 9163. The account number is 44420. Account title is Computer Equipment. The amount requested is $35,000. Was this included in the annual budget request? And the answer is no. The reason it was not included was the grant just approved as of 1/23/26. How will this appropriation be used? For the project detailed in the grant application which was approved is submitted with this request. Specific cost of the item was $35,000. And how was this cost determined? Cost analysis, see grant application. Is this a reoccurring expense? The answer is no. Will other expenditures be necessary? No. And was it discussed with the liaison? No, it wasn't. And that is, Dave Yard is the liaison's name. Do we have a motion to approve the additional for $35,000 from Superior Court 2?
So moved.
We have a motion by Rick Ring. Do we have a second? Second by Bob Kraft. Susan, you want to go over this briefly? Please.
And I would have a question. Number one, in order to apply for grants, we need the permission of the commissioners, supposedly. And secondly, does this project replace any of the additionals or any of the expenses that we authorized last year to improve sound and communication within that courtroom? Does it replace money we were spending out of the general fund?
I know we discussed this earlier with Patrick here, but I'll be honest with you, I had not seen the grant.
Okay. And it's all for things that we would have to pay for if they didn't get the grant, so that's great. But
Is there any
So do
reason?
you have more questions?
Yeah,
Any
good
reason?
job, Susan.
Thanks.
You asked for 40 and you got 35. Is that just something common? They don't get the full.
All depend, I don't know, it all depends on the grant. I mean, and to answer Rick's question, there's a lot of grants that are applied for that the commissioners may not be aware of at the beginning. And with this one being a judicial grant, the commissioners don't have any signatures in it. It's the judge that does all that. So, I mean, the judge did ask me about it and sent me the information that he was doing it. As far as I can remember, he had come in to talk about it, but it wasn't actually in the budget.
And quite honestly, the only reason I even bring it up is because over the course of this legislative period, it became a topic of conversation among many of the counties about whether or not, when grant was applied for, they had authorization to apply, which needs to come from the commissioners. Now, sometimes things flow and yes, they get a permission in a conversation or whatever, but not formally. But it has become a topic of conversation over the last 3 months.
But the grant has been approved, the money is here.
The money's not here yet, I don't believe,
Okay,
but
but
it's
it is
approved,
coming.
yeah.
Okay. Any further question?
I think just one comment that this, we have a grant to pay for it now, but in the future, this could become part of their budget if they wanted to continue to use this system, correct? So just a thinking ahead of,
Good point, Amy, and I don't know when
I'm sure there'll
found
be
out
a
about the
maintenance
grant.
contract and all the other things, so.
correct. Yeah, good point.
Any further discussion from the council? Okay, we have a motion and a second. We'll call for the question. All those in favor of the grant transfer of $35,000 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Okay, we do have some transfers that do require the council's approval. The first one is Superior Court 2, and this is legal reference materials, and that is from Y 22410 to legal fees, 32820. The amount is $4,000. And why is this transfer needed? Not enough funds in our legal fees account to pay a public defender for representation of a defendant. Will additional appropriation be requested due to this date? Was it discussed with the liaison? And the liaison's name is not there, and I would think that would be me on that one. So we have a request to transfer $4,000 from legal references to legal fees. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
We have a motion by Rick Ring. Do we have a second? Second by Chris Kraft. Okay, any further discussion or questions from the council?
Question this as to, is this legal representation within our own public defender's office? Or is this someone that is having to be hired outside because of conflicts?
I do not know. I do not know. It was not discussed with me.
I would assume it's somebody outside.
Yeah. Before we actually vote, I'd like to know that answer before we actually vote on it, because if it's within our own public defender's office, I wouldn't see the need for this. But if it's somebody from the outside, which I understand, if there are conflicts, we're going to have to pay someone, but we ought to have that answer before we actually vote on it.
Okay, we'll table that. Can you?
I'll
Okay,
see what I can find.
we'll move on to the next one. And this comes from Community Corrections. It is being transferred or asked to transfer from Travel Training Education Fund Number Y34295 to CPR Certification Cards Fund Number 22735. Why is this transfer needed? CPR/AED certification has always been budgeted under account number 34295. Training. We are informed by Leanne that it is only the certification cards that we are paying for, and we need to pay from account number 22735, CPR certification cards. Will additional appropriation be requested due to this transfer? The answer is yes. The liaison's name is Amy Dembski. Do we have a motion to approve the transfer? This is for $350.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion by Bob Kraft, a second by Bill Van Wy to approve the transfer of $350. Any further discussion or questions from the council? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor of approving the $350 transfer request, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Transfer is granted.
Who motioned and seconded that?
Bob Kraft made the motion, Bill Van Wy seconded.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to the next one. It is from the Covered Bridge Maintenance Fund, coming from the DeKalb County Highway Department. Fund number is 1134. And the amount to be transferred is $191,703.25. And again, it is from account number 22310, repair and maintenance supplies, to account number 32780. The account title is other service fees. Again, the amount is $191,703.25. Why is this transfer needed? Invoice contains labor expense, so it is necessary to be paid accordingly. Will additional appropriation be requested due to this transfer? The answer is no. Was it discussed with the liaison? The answer is yes, and that liaison is Bob Kraft. Do we have a motion to approve the transfer from the Highway Department for $191,703.25? Have a motion by Bob Kraft. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Rick Ring.
This is strictly because it has labor in the bill. If you look at the bill, the next page, it has labor in it, so you can't pay it from just supply account. It has to be in that other services account.
Okay, so,
Just like he said there, it's,
okay,
this has, in order to pay it, it has to go from the Cover Bridge Fund to the other services fund.
And Chris, we do a lot of transfers like this because it's budgeted in one place, but it's very, the State Board of Accounts is very strict on what can be paid from what account, so we have to transfer it.
Can't pay for labor.
No additional money, it's just,
Yeah.
we have it in the wrong pocket. It has to go to the other
Can't pay
place.
for labor out of a supply account, but
any other questions from the council? Hearing none, we'll call for the question. All those in favor of the transfer of $191,703.25 from the Highway Department signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Transfer is granted. The next one comes to us from the Change Academy.
This one actually is a second to the prior one dealing with the CPR cards. They're just paying for it out of two different funds,
Okay.
so it'll sound the same.
This one, again, is from the Community Corrections Change Academy. Fund name is Juvenile School Fund. Fund number 4116. The amount to be transferred is $75, and it is from account number 4116.3429.026.0913, and that is from the Travel Training Education Fund to account number 4116.22735.026.0913. The account title is CPR certification cards, and the amount requested to transfer is $75. Why is this transfer needed? CPR/AED certification has always been budgeted under account number 34295 training. We are informed by Leanne that it is only the certification cards that we are paying for and need to pay from account number 22735, CPR certification cards. Will additional appropriation be requested due to the transfer? And the answer is no. Was it discussed with the liaison? Yes, and that was Amy Dembski. We have a motion and a second. Any further questions from the council on the $75 transfer? And I think Susan's already pretty much answered that question, why we need it. Okay, hearing none, we'll call for the question. All those in favor of the $75 transfer?
Did you get a motion? You have a
Oh,
motion.
I'm sorry, I thought we had a motion. Okay, we have a motion by Amy Prosser. Thank you, Bill. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Bill Van Wy. Again, any questions from the council? Hearing none, we'll call for the question. All those in favor of the $75 transfer signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Transfer is granted.
these next three are all to do with the same thing. You can take them all together or not.
We can take, okay. Do we have consensus from the council to take the next three as one?
They're all three to do with the SWAT expenditure, so somebody can explain
They're all
it.
from the TIF district, so.
So do we have consensus?
I'm fine.
Okay. Okay, thank you. So we will do these as one. The first one comes from the auditor, and it is for $1,286.24. The fund is the SDI, fund number 4501. It is from account 99500. The account title is miscellaneous expenditures to account number 44520. The account title is police equipment, and that is for $1,286.24. Why is this transfer needed? Invoices for some of the SWAT expenditures that RDC approved were received, and this is putting the money into the correct expenditure account. Will additional appropriation be requested due to the transfer? The answer is no. Was it discussed with the liaison? The answer is yes, and that liaison's name is Bob Kraft. The next one we want to address here is regarding the American Heritage Village, and the department is the auditor. Fund number 4502. The amount to be transferred is $5,460.24. It is from account number 9950, miscellaneous expenditure, to account number 44520. The account title is police equipment. The amount is $5,460.24. Why is this transfer needed? Invoices for some of the SWAT expenditures that RDC approved were received, and this is putting the money into the correct expenditure account. Will additional appropriation be requested due to this transfer? The answer is no. Was it discussed with the liaison? The answer is yes, and that is Bob Kraft. And the last one we have is, again, it comes from the auditor. Fund name is New Millennium. Fund number is 4503. The amount to be transferred is $1,286.24 from account number 9950. The account title is miscellaneous expenditure, to account number 44520. Account title is police equipment, and the amount is $1,286.24. Why is this transfer needed? Invoices for some of the SWAT expenditures that RDC approved were received, and this is putting the money into the correct expenditure account. Will additional appropriation be requested due to this transfer? The answer is no. The liaison was discussed with, yes, is Bob Kraft. Do we have a motion to approve these three transfers here?
I'll make the motion.
We have a motion by Bob Kraft. Do we have a second? Second by Chris Kraft. Any further discussion from the council?
This is, RDC just approved to have some of the TIF money pay for some police equipment, which is well within that jurisdiction to do that, and it's just moving it to the right account to pay for it, pay the bill.
Correct.
Thank you. Do we have any further discussion from the council? All those in favor of approving the transfers signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Transfers are granted. That is the last of the transfers and additionals that need.
We'll come back to that first one. I'm
Oh, okay,
trying
thank
to
you.
get an answer.
Thank you, Susan. Moving on, we have, and there's no reason we can't do this a little sooner. Randy, you're here for the airport? If you'd like to do it earlier, that's fine, or you can sit there for another 25 minutes. Oh, okay, thank you. You're most gracious.
Thank you.
And I already have mine. Yep.
Thank you.
Well, good morning. You should have received our briefing document. I'll go over these photos first. Russ is probably not the most photogenic guy on earth, but he is my scale. So when you look at these pictures, the very first one is the new MB5 broom and plow that we'll use at the airport. Russ is standing inside the end of the greeter blade. And picture 2 shows him standing next to the access to the cab. So you can see this thing is quite a piece of equipment. I think it's got a 27-foot broom on the back that's 36 inches in diameter. There's 2 motors that run this thing, one that propels it, one that runs the broom. And so it'll clear 27 feet at a time. Our runway is 7,106 feet long and 100 feet wide. So this thing takes at least 4 trips up and down the runway to clear it. And the guys are good at doing that, so they kind of minimize their access. Picture 3 shows the plow from the front. Again, with Russ for scale, so you can see it 27 feet across. And it flexes a bit, so it can be adjusted for width and clearing. The fourth picture is the old multi-purpose tractor with a blade on the front that I think is 14 feet wide, or maybe 12 feet. The wings go out and make it 14 on the ends when they want to push. The fifth picture is Russ standing by the blade of the new Fendt tractor that was delivered. And again, this one gets, I think, almost 22 feet wide when you fully extend the wings to clear. Picture 6 is Russ again next to the Fendt tractor. The Fendt is kind of neat because if you drive it one way and you end up in a flat spot and it's not easy to turn around, you just basically turn the whole driving system around and take it off backwards. So you don't have to be doing 3-point turns all the time. You can just turn this seat around and drive it in the opposite direction. Picture 7 is, again, Russ standing by the greater blade, snow blade, of the old truck. And my understanding is this truck that we've been using now since 2005 was a county highway truck that was traded in, and the airport bought it back and put the blade on it. And I've got a little better picture of the broom that they're pulling behind this. Russ said this truck is on its 6th transmission. He said the new MB5 will keep us from getting stuck on flat terrain because the transmission just blows out. It's pulling too much weight for its gearing and size and all. So as part of the report, we're going to order a new truck to replace that, actually. The 8th picture is the truck with the broom attached. It has a spreader attachment in the bed. The new truck is going to have an integral spreader in the bed so we can spread the de-icing equipment or sand as necessary, and then use the truck throughout the year for hauling equipment. And then the very last picture is just comparing the two brooms. From the front, you can see the older one's 24 inches, the new one's 36, and the width makes it a lot easier to clear. All of this equipment is going to stay, except for the dump truck. So all of this can be used at once, because not only do we have the 100-foot wide runway, we've got a 30-foot wide taxiway that goes the full 7,000 feet of the runway now, plus all the feeder lanes and the space in front of all the hangars. So between Jason and Russ and the maintenance fellow, they'll be out there with the two brooms, and we've got a Bobcat that has a 10-foot blade on it to clear around all the hangars. So equipment-wise, this is what they're going to be using to keep the runways clear. Again, our goal is to increase jet traffic in and out of our airport. So we've expanded the fuel capability. We now got the runway cleaning equipment that we believe will last and can keep the runways clear and keep us operational. I know the last storm, the guys were out there every 2 hours. When it's actively snowing, they don't do much, kind of like the county highway. It doesn't do much to plow off an inch of snow and then have to go back an hour later and do it again. So they were out there every 2 hours checking, and there's a system that the FAA has for grading the runway. And when the runway gets down to a point where it needs to be cleared, there's a message that's put out to the pilots that might be incoming to know that there will be equipment on the runway. And these vehicles are equipped with ADS-B transceivers. It's an automated surveillance system for aircraft. So if I'm flying and Dave's flying, his airplane broadcasts out his location, his altitude, his speed, and direction. And it can show up on a GPS map. My airplane does that as well. So Dave can see me, I can see him. Well, these vehicles all have ADS-B in them, and so when they're out on the runway or on the airport, any aircraft that might be coming in, if they didn't see the message, they can see the vehicle on the runway because ADS-B is now required in all aircraft. So Safety-wise, we're looking at clearing the airways, the runway, and not getting run into by airplanes, and keeping the system open. Thought you might be interested in seeing what equipment we've actually been buying and using. Any questions on the photos?
Oh, Randy, real quick. Now, the system you're talking about, does that, all small aircraft have to have that system?
Yes. Yes.
So regardless of one person flying an old plane or whatever?
There are some aircraft that have no radios in them. We have one that's out at the airport. It's a biplane, Waco, has no radio in it, and so it does not have ADSB. But if it has a radio system in it, it was required to be installed a year or so ago, and they gave people 10 years to do it. So it's an integral part. This is one of the systems that eventually your pilot, if you go to Detroit and you want to fly to Arizona, right now they take a route following ground installations. When this is done, they'll take off from Detroit and they'll fly right straight to Arizona without making any extra turns, burning extra fuel, because ADSB lets them see where all the other aircraft are. And they can plan their route that way.
One other question, on the brooms there, and I guess you'd say bristles,
Yeah.
how often do you have to replace the bristles?
I asked Russ about that. He said they stay pretty well. I mean, they're designed to stay. I know if you go around the city after the street sweeper's been out, about every 10 blocks, you'll find 2 or 3 of the bristles. Big steel spikes, they look like it'll be on the street. These are not supposed to leave those. The brooms are, all the bristles are replaced in segments. So everything's put together with all the bristles in it. You slide an old one out, you put the new one in as it wears down, because they do wear. But exactly how often those get out, I don't know, but you know, the FOD, they call it foreign object debris. We don't want objects on the runway. They could be sucked up by aircraft or punctured tires or things like that. So that's a concern of the equipment, that we don't leave debris on the runway to interfere with the aircraft.
Okay, thank you, Randy. Does anybody else have any questions for Randy?
Yeah. Randy, I think you said that one of your goals is to increase the business traffic?
Yes.
Traffic?
Yes.
And that getting a lot of these new vehicles and equipment is part of that. Is there
Yes.
any other pieces of equipment that you guys see that you're going to need in the future? And what is the rest of your plan to increase that business traffic? I see it's pretty low at this point compared to, what is it, single engine? So
Yeah.
just looking to see, like, what else are you doing to help improve that?
Well, part of it was the renaming.
Okay.
It puts us alphabetically at the top of the list. So if you're looking for an airport, Auburn shows up first, which was part of our that. And then we're advertising. Our website has been improved and will be improved again. We've just done that. We're advertising in different free spaces, and then, of course, pilot word of mouth makes a big difference as well, because people that fly in, Sweet Aviation has, well, those guys are top notch. I can't say enough good about Sweet. Chuck and his guys do a great job. So we're doing everything we can. Plus, we're going to have the biggest general aviation runway in the state of Indiana, and we're right in between Fort Wayne, Detroit, all of Northeast Indiana. And if you want to land and have a safety margin, we're the place to go. So we're doing all those things together to make sure that we attract new business.
Is there any other equipment that you see that you guys are going to need?
At this point, I don't believe so. I think on the very front page, you can also see this little white box over in the corner. That's a portable generator that we have set up, so that if the power would ever go down, we can haul that out. We've got a tie-in right out by the building. What do we call it? Terminal. And we can tie that generator in there and power all the lighting on the runway and taxiways, so that we don't have someone halfway ready to land, the power goes off and all the lights go off. So we've got backup power, and now with all the LED lighting, this one generator will handle all of that.
Randy, the other thing that would most likely attract more business to this airport is going to be the addition of the hangars so that
Right.
business aircraft that is now being stationed in other locations can be moved here. But until we get that, those hangars up and running,
Right.
that's not available. The other is that none of this equipment or expense comes from county general.
No.
There is a minimal county tax rate,
Right.
but none of this comes from county general.
No, this is all from the
And
airports.
you are moving towards self-sufficiency.
That would be our goal. If we can get enough business to the point where fuel flowage, rentals, and all of that, and again, if we've got that 70 acres, if we could develop that and get an income stream, our goal would be to get off the tax rate altogether.
Do you
Now,
guys have a written plan for that, Randy?
Huh?
Do you guys have a written plan for that yet?
no, there is no written plan other than we have advertised the property. We actually were in there was about a 10 property lottery, I guess you want to call it. We had people come out, review our services, what our services are, what's available, and apparently we lost out to someone further south. But we are advertising, obviously, through the county's bureau and general, again, with our website and all, that we have that 70 acres available, and we want to prepare it. It's got water, it's got sewer, it's got 440 electric, it's got internet, all available on that site.
One of the other things that we might have lost out on because of it is the fact that we truly need another exchange off of I-69.
I know
that is in the works, but that's many, many, many years coming.
Yeah.
So,
I know that's under discussion. They're talking about either County Road 68 or 60, put another interchange in. I'll be surprised to see, maybe one of those will happen. 60 would put it right in line with the airport. So if that happens, that might be it might happen. It would certainly affect our business. We have had aircraft in and out hauling supplies where they would bring a truck out, load the airplane up, take off and go to ship materials across the country. So that has happened in the past. I don't know how often it is now, but we are trying to expand the business. And
no, I think if they chose County Road 60, and none of that has been decided, but if
Right.
they chose County Road 60, it would lessen our need to improve County Road 60, which was one of the Highway Department's biggest number one issues for development over the next couple of years.
Yep.
We wouldn't have to do that. We could help.
Yeah.
The state might be able to help us do it.
That would be fine. I know there are active discussions on that. The Allen County crew are pushing for one as well. I don't know what, I'm not involved in that directly, so I can't give you any direct information on that.
And also, as long as Fort Wayne's growing this way, you're gonna have businesses out there. We got easy access to our airports. That would help grow it too.
Absolutely.
And another thing, I don't think you mentioned it, she was, when Amy was talking about it, you have lowered your dependence on DeKalb taxpayers the last several years as your rate has gone down and everything. So they've done some of your, work on that.
Yeah. We've gone, I think over the last 12 years, we've gone up 0.033% at our tax levy that we've advertised. So we're doing our best to keep everything neutral, increase our income and business out there, and eventually, don't want to say ignore you guys, but get us off the tax rolls would be the ideal situation in the long run. We don't have a goal for that yet because we don't know if some big company shows up and wants to put up a Google distribution center out there. We don't know. Could be a bunch of small ones, but we just need an income stream to that we can guarantee before we start looking at changes in our funding within the county.
Anybody else have any questions for Randy?
Okay, and then, I got like 3 quick things here. That we did order a new truck. We've signed a maintenance contract with American Elevator. Otis was not, we have a hydraulic elevator that leaked. I guess there was like 4 inches of hydraulic oil in the bottom of the pit. And Otis wouldn't even come look at it until the pit was drained and cleaned. So we put out requests for quotes, and we signed a new maintenance agreement with American Elevator. We anticipate that by December, the 3 new 6-place hangars will be constructed and available for occupancy. The folks that are in the first A and B, or B and C row, A row's gone. B and C that are left, the old blue hangars, we anticipate by January of 2027 that those will be torn down. So the folks that are in those now, as soon as the new hangars are available for occupancy, we want their aircraft moved so we can get rid of those hangars as soon as possible.
Will the new hangars accommodate larger planes than the old ones?
Yes, a little bit. The old hangars had sliding doors on them, dirt floors, and some of them still. These new ones will be concrete. They've got the bifold doors that come up. They're hydraulic. Apparently, I asked Russ, because that was my first concern, was it looks like a complicated door. And he said it's not. It goes up and down easily. And if we had a failure of the hydraulic system to raise and lower the door, they back one of the trucks up, or one of the tractors up. They got a special hose to hook to there, and they'll blow the doors up with the hydraulics off the tractors. So we've got a backup so nobody's stuck inside if, unless they, blow a hose out or something to where the system won't work. We've got a backup actually to open and close those. And then lunch on the fly starts this month, or it starts in April. And from 11 to 1, they'll be serving lunch in the main hangar at the terminal. You're all welcome to come out. The board meeting is on the 3rd Friday at 1 p.m. I want to thank Councilman Kraft and his wife for coming out to our last meeting. Thank you very much, sir. And with that, I'll get out of your way.
Anybody else have any questions for Randy? Thanks for a great report, Randy. Okay, moving on, we have an ordinance amendment that does need a council approval. Yes.
Can we go back to that transfer real quick?
Yeah,
so we
yeah.
don't forget?
Sounds good.
And Dylan answered me, and it is an Allen County Public Defender, not one of ours.
Okay, it's an Allen County Public Defender. The request is
And that was for $4,000 going from the legal reference materials to legal fees.
Did you get that, Rick? It's for
Yes.
Allen County representation. Could we have a
Yes.
motion in a second?
Yep,
Okay, thank you.
Rick Ring and Chris Kraft.
Okay, thank you. Any further any further discussion on the $4,000 transfer that's being requested from Superior Court 2? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor of the $4,000 transfer signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Transfer is granted. Okay, next item of business is the salary ordinance amendment. And this is from the 2026 salary and hourly wage ordinance. It's an amendment. The ordinance number is 2026-OCC-4, and it is amending ordinance number 2025-OCC-12. And it is developmental services, the account number 11993. The job title is Butler Planner Contract Pay. City of Butler is increased the pay beginning in 2026 per contract. It is bi-weekly, and it is up to a maximum of $792.30. Do we have a motion to approve the reading of the title only?
So move.
Have a motion by Bill Van Wy. Do we have a second? Second by Bob Kraft. Okay, since we have a motion and a second, is there any further discussion from the council?
This is just, Butler raised their rates on their employee, and all this is raising his with the alliance of what town of Butler have done.
Yeah, so I had included the contract or agreement that the commissioner signed, and I highlighted, it says the yearly budget for this agreement shall reflect any city pay increases starting in 2026, but we would have not had any idea what that was when we did budgets.
All this is doing is just getting his money lined up. This is all Butler's paying him for his services that help them get their planning commission going, right? Did I say that right, lady?
Are you good? Any other further discussions to come before the council? Again, I'm going to call for the question. This is approving only on first reading, title only. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, it has been approved on first reading, title only. Next, we need to suspend the rules so we can go to a second and third reading. Do we have a motion to suspend the rules on this?
I'll make that motion.
I'll
Okay.
second it.
We have a motion by Bob Kraft and a second by Bill Van Wy to suspend the rules only. Any further question for the council? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor of suspending the rules signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is granted. We have suspended the rules. Now we're looking at a second and third reading for approval. Do we have a motion for approval on the second and third reading?
So moved.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Rick Ring, a second by Amy Prosser. Any further discussion to come before the council? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor of approving the amended ordinance number 2026-OCC-4 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is granted, and it has been approved. Okay, let's take, while we go on, let's take a 5-10 minute break here, real quick here. We'll be at recess.
Okay, yep.
Council is back in session. Next up, we have Steve Howell with the Northeastern Center. Steve?
Good morning.
Good morning.
I appreciate the opportunity to visit you again, talk about the good works that we're doing at Northeastern Center. I wanted to acknowledge a couple of my staff people who made it here today. Dottie Fuentes is my Chief Clinical Officer, and Seth Gibson is my Chief Operations Officer. And they're very instrumental in the success at Northeastern Center and all we do for the community, so I want to acknowledge them. Northeastern Center is one of 24 community mental health centers in the state that serve the 92 counties. We are the designated, community mental health center for Noble, LaGrange, Steuben, and DeKalb. So that means a couple of things. It means that we receive county funding, and it also means that we have an obligation, responsibility to provide a full continuum of mental health care. It means that we need to be transparent and we need to be good stewards of those dollars. So our mission at Northeastern Center is that we help individuals achieve emotional and mental wholeness through affordable, accessible, and quality behavioral health services. And we work to put that mission into practice every day. So we are staring down 50 years of being the Community Mental Health Center. 2027 will mark our 50th anniversary. So I'll spend a little bit of time talking a little bit about our continuum of services that we provide. Also, I wanted to note that you should have received about 3 weeks ago our county report. I have some extra copies if you need it. But if you've got it, if you're good, you need one, or yeah. I can hand a couple of these around.
I can make more copies.
And it is in the packet.
It's in our council packet.
Yeah. It is? It's in the council packet.
I'll just look on share.
So I want to highlight a few things in the report, and glad to entertain any questions or comments that, that you may have. One of the things I think is really important is to know that the people that come to Northeastern Center, we provide the full continuum of care. Talk a little bit more about what that means, but we also see a full continuum of problems or challenges from people. We serve about 5,000 individuals a year at Northeastern Center, and some have a severe and persistent mental illness, but there are others that are on the other end of the continuum, people who are having marital problems, anger management problems, substance abuse problems, everything in between. So the Community Mental Health Center system in Indiana is set up to be a safety net. We serve everyone who comes through our doors. And I really want to emphasize, a lot of the people that come here are our friends, our neighbors, our brothers, our sisters. And so part of, I think, my job, our job, is to also destigmatize the people that need behavioral health services. So if you, I'll kind of sprint through this, and again, I'm glad to entertain questions or comments. So it's important that we have representation from each of our 4 counties on our board. We have a 13-member board of directors, and I've listed the 3 members from DeKalb County as well as our board president. And then as you get into the report on page 2, we highlight some of the community partnerships that we have with our stakeholders specific to DeKalb County. As I mentioned, the full continuum of care, what does that mean? That means we offer inpatient, outpatient, we have a clubhouse program, we provide case management, we have psychiatrists, we have therapists, we have a community health and outreach center here in Auburn that serves all 4 counties. We've had a real emphasis on moving into a certified community behavioral health clinic model, which I won't get into a lot today. The acronym, more acronyms, CCBHC. But it really highlights our crisis services and immediate access to services. So as I mentioned, and it's noted on page 3, in DeKalb County specifically, last year, we work on a July through June fiscal year, so this is for FY25. We served 1,202 DeKalb County residents. 199 of those were youth, which does not include 183 individuals we served through school-based services here in the county. On the financial side, we operated at a loss last fiscal year of about 6%. We're about a $21 million company. If you line us up from largest to smallest of those 24 CMHCs, we're about 17th. So the majority are bigger than we are. We're not small, but we're not huge. So funding is really a challenge in the behavioral health space, as it is for many other industries right now. Thus far through the fiscal year 2026, 7 months in, we're also operating at a loss. So we're making some adjustments with that in terms of controlling our expenses and working to find additional revenue streams. Our total charity care, which includes our contractual adjustments, our client assistance, and our bad debt, center-wide is about $9 to $10 million, and for DeKalb County specifically, as noted on page 4, it's $2.1 million. So we receive about about $420,000 from the county, and that gets put towards that our charity care and also our Medicaid match. So again, we feel like it's a good investment for the county, and we're good stewards of that money. Further into the report, it gets into some information you may or may not be interested in, the kind of clients that we see, how the different diagnoses, the different issues, challenges they have, that kind of thing. I do want to point out on page 7 of the report, 7 and 8 of the report, these are a couple measures that are very important to me, and that has to do with patient satisfaction. We are consistently over 95% in terms of satisfaction from our clients or our patients. You can see specifically with DeKalb, it's right in that area, 95% of the individuals who complete our satisfaction surveys are satisfied. They're happy with our services. They note that they're improved functioning, if you will. And the last page of the report, and you will find this, all of the counties, we have to provide to the state, and this goes to the in.gov County Provider Reports website. You can find it on any county. There's simply a 2-page report, but what we put together obviously is much more comprehensive than just what's required by the state. But page 8 of the report that I sent you contains those client satisfaction measures, and the MHSIP is for adults, and there are 8 measures that they look at, and Northeastern Center was above the state average compared to other community mental health centers on all 8 of those measures. The YSSF is for youth, and out of those 7 measures, we were above the state average on 4 of those 7. So really solidifies the good work that my staff is doing at Northeastern Center and the improvement that we're seeing with the clients that put their trust in us at Northeastern Center. The final thing I'll mention, I wanted to update you on what's happening the last 7 months at Northeastern Center, because again, this is a fiscal year 2025 report. And I wanted to just emphasize our crisis services, because that's a it's a centerpiece of the CCBHC model. So we have a program called NEC Cares, which is a 23-hour crisis receiving and stabilization program. where anyone can come in. It's designed for people who don't need to be in the hospital, don't need to be in jail. Where they encounter people, I've talked about this here before, people in the community. Some people are homeless. A lot of people just simply need help. They need a variety of things. So law enforcement brings individuals or people to simply walk in to our NEC Cares unit. They are there for approximately 23 hours. And the cost savings for this, we worked with Blue & Company out of Indianapolis, and for our area, we project that we're saving about $1 million a year because these are people who don't need to be taken to jail and they don't need to be taken to the emergency department. So instead, they come to us. So really proud of that program. But last year, which our fiscal year 2025, we had 719 different admissions to that program. Thus far, through 7 months of fiscal year 2026, we've had 977 individuals.
Steve, question on that. Yeah. And those are not just DeKalb County residents, because that facility serves all 4 counties.
That is correct, and even individuals outside the county. So whoever kind of walks through our doors, I think we're getting more people from Allen County. We're really evolving that program because it's got some challenges, but we're doing a lot of good with that. It's challenging to get people out in 23 hours. Yeah. But our average is actually a little bit higher than that. It's about 26 hours. So when we look at those 977 times people have been this fiscal year, they are staying on average about 27 hours there.
Does that affect you guys funding-wise or anything? I mean, is it, when it goes over the 23, because I know that 23 was to keep it under a 24-hour period. How does that impact your program? And
yeah, there is, this is a national program, so there are fidelity standards. So it doesn't directly impact our funding, but it does impact our fidelity as we continue to, we've done this program for a couple of years now. Funding is a challenge with this program. It's a program that we lose money on, so we're working real hard to secure funding and keep the funding going for it. So yeah, we want to get that down closer to, you know, the expected standard of 23 hours.
It's so important to our county and so important in those situations where what would have happened before this is they would have either gone to jail or to the hospital and bottled up those 2 systems and cost a whole lot of money. And like he said, most of the time those folks are just, they might be off of medication, they might just be, you know, confused, having a bad day, whatever. And if they can solve that and get them through that and get that medication, whatever it needs, man,
we need to add to that function, Bob, because there was a bill that was passed in this past legislature that did get signed by the governor that criminalizes homelessness. And throughout the legislative session, we worked with counties, and there at the very end with the governor's office to try to redirect that criminalization from jail, because the way the law is set up, if these people are arrested 3 times within 300 feet of the same location because they're camping or they're living, you know, behind the bushes or whatever, then they can get if there's not a bed within 5 miles of that location, they get sent to jail. And what the County Council Association was trying to do, and what the Association of Counties was trying to do, was, and I made the suggestion, encourage them to use these kind of facilities. It's much more appropriate because they're immediately going to get somebody that's assigned to them to help them through the issues. To, you know, why are you homeless? I think, and maybe I'm wrong, and Steve, you can probably tell me different, but I think the majority of this is going to be a mental health issue, not just a financial issue. But even if it is a financial issue, they immediately get assigned to somebody that can help them work their way through the system and find the right help. That's gonna start. I think there's been some stories about it in the Indianapolis Star already, and a couple of news TV channel programs on it already, but I think we're gonna see more of that.
Yeah, sure. It's very interesting times.
Yeah, very, very much so. But, you know, a lot of, and I don't want to jump ahead of you, Steve, if you're not done, but during this session, there was a lot being said about CMHCs, and there were bills in there that would have made our funding of the CMHC a may rather than a shall. And we were able to, that was changed. I mean, there were counties that didn't want to have to contribute to their local CMHCs, but the legislature came out in support of the CMHCs because mental health is such an important issue, and that you know, that we need to provide as much assistance as we can possibly provide. And Steve actually was one of the people that spoke in favor of the CMHCs, because are you still the president of the Association for the State?
I am.
And so he had some positive things to say. And this is something that I've been involved with since I've been on council. When I first got on council, I was involved because of the amount that we're required to pay to the CMHC, and it was a big controversy. So that's 12, it goes back 12 years, and maybe probably farther than that. But they are providing us a service that we absolutely have to have. And I know at the time it came out that most of what we were providing was as the backup to the Medicaid that you had, and that to lose this amount of money would affect your Medicaid funding. And since most of this ends up being paid by Medicaid, I would think,
yes,
we can't afford to, our citizens can't afford to lose that support. At the end of the legislative session, I think a couple of things that they decided on was, number one, communication was the biggest issue across the state. Now, since Steve has taken over as CEO, we have had better communication with the Northeast Center than we've ever had. We've had input on who gets on their board, which we didn't have before. They have been supportive in every possible way that they could, and that's one of the things that's in this new bill, is that there has to be better communication with the local county. Now, I'm a little bit hesitant as to how this next piece is going to work out, but you now will have to show every year that the money that we're putting into this to the center, how it's being spent within DeKalb County, not generally across the four counties, but how it's specifically being spent here.
correct.
So you've got a challenge. I think they added a few different items that you have to include in the report too, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, we're not 100% sure how we're going to do that yet either, Rick, but we will do that. We will do that.
Yeah.
I appreciate those words, and we work really hard to be transparent. One of the things that resonates with me is when I hear that for some reason, and I get it, what we do at Northeastern Center and the other community mental health centers, people don't know. And people don't know what we do, and we want to be an open book. And so this report is one of those steps. Me coming here is one of those steps. I want to be available to any and all of you at any point. And really, we need to, part of it is on us. We need to do a better job of telling our story. And again, that's all part of this equation.
I think Northeast Center probably has, their board has got more county representatives than most. And I think you've got a couple of county council people on the board. One that's required because of your home office being in Noble County, but you've also got people from Steuben County.
Yeah, Ruth Beers is from Steuben, Max Franklin from Noble County, yeah. We have some really good community-minded people. They really underscore the community. We're a community mental health center, so We're here to, again, be good stewards and do what we can to help the community. So, again, real excited about the crisis services, a little bit concerned about the funding. We know that some CMHCs are cutting back on their 24/7 coverage, which we certainly don't want to do. You also cannot operate any business at a loss forever. We've had reserves to help make up some of the numbers. So we're starting to stabilize. And so again, we're looking at how can we control our cost and what are some additional revenue streams. But again, the crisis services is really a centerpiece. So as I mentioned, 977 individuals through 7 months we've served there compared to 719 the entire year last year. We also have a designated mobile crisis team. I think we were somewhere around the 12th or 14th in the state. Now they're up to about 20 of those. So a mobile crisis team, I won't get into the details of that, but this is all part of 988, someone to call, someone to respond, and a safe place for help. So last year, our mobile crisis team responded to 30 calls. We've only had the mobile crisis team about a year and a half. Last fiscal year, they responded to 30 calls. Thus far, through 7 months, they've responded to 98 calls. And they get there on average 48 minutes on average on location. We want to improve on that, but it's within the standards. And then we also have not only 988, but we also have an 800 crisis number that we get about 2,000 calls a year.
Steve,
yeah.
In these situations where somebody makes a phone call, if they call the police first, are the police able to call that crisis team if they get on site and evaluate that, hey, this isn't a situation that requires police possibly, maybe, are they able to call, or are they stuck with the police once you call the police?
Typically, if we kind of assess the situation, and we don't want to put our folks in harm's way. We're not a replacement.
Right, but I'm just saying sometimes, you know, we've had situations at the Y, because it's a big public place,
Sure.
right? And you hate to call the police because the person's confused, you know, they just need help. But at the same time, you got to provide safety for, you know, all the patrons that are there. So it would be better sometimes possibly to call
Absolutely.
you guys first, and then you can call the police rather than the other way around.
Absolutely. And we send out, when we do dispatch the team, it's a 2-person team.
Yeah.
So nobody goes out by themselves. And so
I think the awareness of that for public places and businesses would be really important, you know, whether it be the Y, Walmart, or wherever.
Right.
Don't always call the police first if
Yep.
you think
Good
it's
point.
appropriate.
Steve, quick question. At what age is a child considered an adult? Is it like 18?
18.
18,
yes.
okay.
Uh-huh.
Thank you.
Another question, Steve. As we kind of think about the way health is changing to kind of include mind, body, soul, right? You guys are kind of in this mind space. How do you work collaboratively in the community with different organizations that focus on a person's health and maybe spiritual aspects as well with them?
Yeah, that's a great question. So part of the CCBHC model that we are working towards and we're doing now, we are doing physical health screenings. We're not doing treatment yet, per se. That's kind of the next step with this. But whether it be St. Martin's or other places, we've had a partnership with Neighborhood Health. So we will partner and have a two-way coordination or referral that way. When you start getting into spiritual things, that gets a little bit sticky, and kind of our position is we will bring it up if our client brings it up, because we accept public dollars and we don't want to,
Of course.
you know, steer anyone towards, here's the answer, you know.
I think the question was more of, do you work with local churches or anything like that? Like, hey, this person is saying that they also need some kind of a spiritual help. Is there anybody you reach out to?
We do. We maintain if someone says, hey, I'm Catholic, I've got away from the church, and can you hook me up with somebody, then yeah, we have resources, and we say, let's contact that person, and
That's good.
it's a great question.
Thanks.
And you guys are involved in the mental health coalition that exists in DeKalb County, and then I know that there's a youth mental health coalition that or committee, as a part of that I'm on. I think you guys have a representative on
We
there
do,
too.
yes.
I've worked with, Headley, or
Yeah, Corey Headley.
Lori Headley in the
Uh-huh.
past. I don't know if she's still
She
there,
is,
but
yeah.
she's awesome. So, I mean,
Thank you.
they tend to be at all the stuff that I'm at when it comes to mental health, and they tend to be kind of the lead, one of the leaders. There's others, but they tend to be one of the leaders in those kind of collaborative efforts. And it's a tough, mental health's a tough thing for us to address as a community, but we need to work together more and more and collaborate more and more with across entities to try and make it better.
Anything else you want to add, Steve?
I don't think so at this time. I appreciate, again, the opportunity, appreciate all the hard work that you guys do. We appreciate the support from the county.
Well, you provide a tremendous service to DeKalb County, and just want to thank you and your staff for an excellent job. It's a big piece of the puzzle here, and you provide a great service here.
Yeah,
You really
thank you
do.
very much. I got a good team that makes me look good
Yeah,
most of the time.
to lead off of Rick's things, we do appreciate you coming here, giving us his facts. When I started on this board several years ago, all we know is we had to give so much money to these, and we never knew how they were spending it, what they were doing. We're just required to spend it. And, and there's times where we tried to look to somewhere else because we didn't know what you guys were doing. Fortunately, we stayed with you guys, and I do appreciate you coming in and explaining what you're doing and where the money's going and everything. So thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you, Steve.
Thanks, Steve.
One of the other things that came out of that particular bill, previously, I believe the funding that we provided to the Northeast Center or to the CMHC all came from the general fund. And when they flipped from may to from shall to a may and then back to shall, they did make a change in that it now can come from any other fund that we have other than federal funds. It cannot, that money cannot come from any federal funding. So most of the counties that have brought it up are looking at maybe using part of the opioid settlement as part of this funding. Now, some counties, and I think we may be there, have already appropriated or already set up a budget for that, so that may not be an option for us, but we do have the ability to take it from another fund if needed.
It would make sense. The public safety lighted fund would, although
Well, but that goes away.
that's going away.
That's
but-
going away.
But that would be
Sorry.
kind of a.
It may be next year, but, sorry.
Okay, moving on, this concludes our business here for the council today, and I will look to Chris Kraft for the most famous words.
Not yet, not yet.
Yes, Rick?
Sorry, Dave, you didn't tell me not to bring anything else up.
I was hoping you'd pick up on it.
I just want to emphasize there are 2 meetings that are coming up for county council people specifically that are very important. There were a lot of changes that were made in the legislature this year that are not going to totally take effect this year or next year, but some of them been pushed out another year. But the Association of Indiana Counties district meeting for Northeast Indiana is on April the 15th. It's a Wednesday night. It's at the Lighted Acres in Wells County, which is, I think, between Bluffton and Ossian. I've been to a couple meetings there, and I don't remember exactly where it's at, but that's April the 15th. And then June the 13th is the state-called meeting. The State Board of Accounts has the County Council Association call a state-called meeting every year in June. This year's is June 13th. It's at the Renaissance Hotel in Carmel, Indiana, same place it was last year. And we will have there will be a number of legislators that are there to explain what has happened this year and what's going to be happening in the future with local option income taxes and property tax. And our governmental affairs person at AIC, Jamie Bosler, is going to be one of the presenters. And Ryan Hoff was a great contact for us, a great business, government relations person for us. And he was a DeKalb County boy, so I was always pushing Ryan. But Jamie, he left and went to Farm Bureau, and Jamie is now with us. Jamie is previously a county council person in Howard County. She previously was the assessor in Howard County. She was previously the school finance officer in Wayne County, and she left the DLGF as chief of staff to come to us. We have never had anybody as educated and well-versed in government finance as what we have within her. And she did a tremendous job for us this legislative session. And we have never, ever had the kind of detail that we now have available to us. So it's important that if you can attend either one of those meetings, to please do. Prefer that you attend both, but if you can attend either one, you'll get Jamie will be one of the presenters on April 15th. In fact, I think they're going to do before the actual dinner and actual district meeting that evening, they're going to do a class that afternoon on the financing. So it is important to attend if you can. Unfortunately, the last 2 years, it's always been at the ACD Museum here in town. This year, they've moved it to Wells County. So, and with that.
I want to just second that, just because of Rick not running again. We've always relied on Rick to keep up on all this, and some of the rest of us are going to have to step up and get involved in these state meetings and keeping track of what the legislature is coming through, or we're going to be lost. So
I'll try and make the June 13th.
We've got to get more involved, myself included.
Yeah, I believe in the power of three. Are you sure you're done?
I'm done.
Are you sure you're done?
I am done.
Are you sure you're done?
I am sure I'm done.
Chris Kraft.
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion to second to adjourn. All those in favor signify aye.
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 Opposed? Meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody.